Good morning. But today we're going to start a new chapter, chapter 3, lesson 1. And our lesson today is talking about understand positive and negative numbers. So now we're going to learn about the negative numbers. All of us know that from grade or from KG up to grade 6, all of us know that we have 0, we have 1, we have 2, we have 100, we have 1 million. We were talking about the positive numbers, but we're going to talk about the negative one. Today now we're going to talk about what is the negative. What are the negative numbers? When will you use the negative numbers? Where should I put the negative numbers on the number line? So at the end of this lesson, you will be able to graph the integer on the number line, write the opposite of the positive numbers, and write the opposite of opposite numbers. Let's start now with a new vocabulary, which is integers. What do I mean by integers? Integers is the set of whole numbers that they are positive and negative. What do I mean by it? If you remember now that we have something, we call it the number line. And this number line containing a lot of the numbers. Now, here we have number 0. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, we have to know something. Number, starting from 0 up to infinity, these I call them whole numbers. So these are the whole numbers from 0 up to infinity. Now, there's something that's starting from 1 up to infinity. We call them natural numbers, or in other words, counting numbers. That when you start counting, you will not start from 0, you will start from 1. You want to count how many apples? You say 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So starting from 1 up to infinity, this is counting numbers or natural numbers. But this is an extra information. This is not with you. Just I want you to know that we have the numbers from 0 to infinity, we call them whole numbers. Now, these numbers, they are positive. And all the numbers that they are less than 0, we call them negative numbers.
But teacher, there is nothing less than 0.
No, there's a numbers less than 0, which we call them negative numbers, such as negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 5, and so on. Yeah, exactly. Something, the examples like the temperature. Temperature, we have temperature 0. If it is getting more hot, you will say the temperature today is 16 Celsius. But when you feel very cold or in a snowy place, you will say that the temperature is negative 4 Celsius or 4 Celsius under 0. So that temperature is an example of negative numbers. So yes, we have
negative 4 is 4 digits under 0, or negative 1 is 1 digit under 0.
No, 4, okay. Yeah, it's like this. Yeah, 4, it means 4 digits under 0. Negative 5, it means 5 under 0. So sometimes you learn that, like temperature, you will say that we have that the temperature today is 5 degrees under 0, or you can say -5 degrees. So numbers now from today, we have to know something, that we don't have only positive, we have positive and negative numbers. And the positive and the negative numbers together, we call them integers.
Teacher, are the negative numbers all numbers?
Yeah.
Are the negative numbers whole numbers? they're not whole numbers. They are less than 0. They can never be whole numbers. Are they like decimals? I don't know.
No, let's see. Decimals, it is like, what is the decimals? Decimals between 0 and 1.
Yeah.
Between 1 and 2. Between 2 and 3. These are decimals. Okay, so if you say, when you say 0.2, it means there's a number that is here. It's between 0 and 1, and they are positive. Negative, they are numbers less than 0. Now, and there is a negative decimals. You will talk about it, inshallah, next semester. Like if you have here negative 3.7, it is a decimal and negative number.
Yeah. And any number before 0 will be negative number, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. The numbers greater than 0 is positive, or we call them whole numbers, and less than 0, we call them negative numbers. And so the integers could be negative and positive numbers. Got it?
Yes. This is a question. And we will multiply or divide or subtract.
Yeah. We have to do all the same operations in the negative numbers. We can say later on, like -3 divided by -4. We will talk about it later.
It will not matter. We will divide like normally.
Yeah, we will divide normally, but the signs you have to learn that if it is negative under negative or over negative, it will be positive. Negative over positive, it will be negative, and so on. Later on, we will talk about all of these things. Okay, so now let's come back now here. So integers are the set of all whole numbers and their opposite. The whole numbers and their opposite. I mean all the positive and all the negative numbers. Two numbers are opposite if they have the same distance from 0 on the number line, but on different sides of 0. What do I mean by it? Like here as an example. So they told me that different numbers have the same distance from 0. If I start walking 3 or 4 digits from 0 to the right, I go to the positive. So I reach positive 4. How can I find it's positive? How can I find it's positive? I have to go the same number for 4 digits, but now to the left. So I will count 1, 2, 3, and 4. So they told me that the opposites, like when I ask you now, what is the opposite of 4? You will say -4. Or what is the opposite of -4? You will say +4. They have the same distance from 0. So let's say we will now say that 4 and -4 are opposite. 3 and -3 are opposite. And as you see, the positive numbers are located to the right of the number line, and the negative numbers located to the left of the, to the right of 0 and to the left of 0. Now all the numbers have a positive, but 0 its own opposite. You can say like positive 0, negative 0, it's the same as 0. There's no opposite for 0. It is 0, it is positive and negative at the same time. Now, let's see this problem here. The temperature at the start of 2009 major League Baseball playoff game between the Colorado Rockies and the Philadelphia Phillies was 2 Celsius. The temperature at the end of the game was -4 Celsius. What is the opposite of each temperature? So at the beginning, we have 2 Celsius. At the end, we have -4 Celsius. And they ask me now to find the opposite of these two temperatures. How you will find that? Later on, you will find it mentally. Now I will learn you how you will make it by the number line. Like here, 2. 2, it's mean I have to go 2 on the, to the 2 sides of 0. So then after, since I go 2 to the right, I have to go 2 to the left. So where is the opposite of positive 2?
The minus.
Will be, don't say minus, it's the negative. Negative 2. Okay, so what is the opposite? So what is the opposite of 2 degrees, or what is the opposite of 2 Celsius? -2 Celsius. Yes, that's it. Celsius. Sorry?
We're gonna check a little bit about temperatures.
You're gonna learn what?
Today we're gonna learn about a little bit of temperatures.
No, just tell you that it's Celsius, how to read it, just an extra information.
Teacher, but 2 Celsius is isn't positive, so we can compare it with negative.
Yeah?
What?
What did you say?
I said that when you compare the 2 Celsius and you made it -2, the 2 isn't positive to make it compare with negative. Well, because there is no sign for positive.
No, don't compare them. I told you what is the opposite of it. I don't ask you to compare them. What is the opposite of 2? Opposite of the opposite of 2, you will say that I will go 2 sides to the right, so I will go 2 sides to the left. Okay, now here. Yes.
All here in the explanation, there is the positive sign and the positive numbers, but the other is not. The other questions, there is no positive sign.
Where did you talk about this one?
Yeah, here is no positive sign, but here when he explained about it, he make a positive sign.
I cannot understand.
I mean, in the whole number, there is positive sign.
Okay.
But here we don't have positive sign.
Because it's by default, it will be positive. If there's no negative beside it, it will be by default positive. Okay, now here, B, -4. -4, it means how many digits it's far from 0?
4.
It will be 4. Thank you. Now, so what is the opposite of -4? If I go 4 to the right, to the left, sorry, I have to go 4 to the right. So what is the opposite of negative 4? Positive 4. Yes, that's it. Now, let's take an examples of the positive and negative numbers to represent the situation. Now, a team loses 10 yards on football play. And let's see, there's some keywords. When you see them, that means that you are talking about negative numbers, like losses. A team loses 10 yards. So it's going to be negative 10. Like if you see a word like below, it's mean negative. What's below? It's mean negative. Now, electron, one more electron. If you know in science, the number of the proton is positive, electron is negative, so the electron have a negative sign. So now, all of these keywords, when you see it, it means that you are talking about negative numbers. Oh, it means the situation here is negative. And there are other words you have to learn from them, like withdraws. What do you mean by withdraws? She don't put new monies, she take from them. Is it right? Withdraw, yeah. So it's like when here, if you understand that, yeah. So here you will understand this word, you will say that it takes some money. So now, how you will write it now? See, here now we have losses 10. So it's gonna be negative 10. A point in Yuma, Arizona is 7 feet above sea level. So we say positive because above the sea level is 0. Okay, sea level, it represents the 0. Above it, we will say positive something. Below it, we will say negative. So it's gonna be negative 40. Withdraws, see, so that it takes a money. So it's gonna be negative 30. Now, Teresia's golf score was 7 strokes below par. If you see word below, what does it mean?
It's negative. It will be negative 7.
Bravo. It's gonna be negative 7. A chlorine ion has one more electron than a proton. As you know,
Minus negative 1.
Negative 1. Thank you.
So what about number 2?
Positive 70. Just a minute, I will put you for you. These are the answers. And now here, what does 0 represent? It's not with you, but just this and just extra information that 0 on a sea level, it's a point of the sea level. 0 in the degrees, it's a temperature of 0 degrees. It's like she takes some money, so there's 0, it means there's no change in the account balance. But it's not with you. I will not ask you what does 0 represent. I will ask you now, name the integer that represents the situation. Now, here. Let's now see how can we write the opposite of opposite. Like, so use a number line to find the opposite of opposite 3. What do I mean? Now, the opposite of negative 3, sorry. You will say first. Now, What is the graph 3 on the number line? So hey, 1, 2, 3. Use the number line to graph the opposite of 3. What is the opposite of 3? It's gonna be -3. So I go 3 digits to the left. Then go now to the -3 and write the opposite of it. And you will go back. Sorry, not like this. I will repeat this for you. Now, positive opposite of -3. First of all, you will draw now -3. Where's -3? It's here, 3 digits to the left. Now, then the opposite of -3 is what? It's gonna be +3. So you will go 3 digits to the right. Then, so now 3, or the opposite of -3 is a 3. Then, what is the opposite of 3? You will go back 3 digits to the left. So it's gonna be -3. So without this explanation, without this thing, you have to know something. As you see that, what is, when I ask you now, what is the opposite of -3? What the answer will be? What is the opposite of -3? It will be the same. Bravo. So the opposite of 3, or -3, it will be -3. The opposite of 4, it will be 4. So we can conclude now that, just a minute here.
Teacher, I don't understand. So I didn't understand this part a lot. How the difference, the negative of 3 is the -3.
The opposite of 3. Yani, what do I mean by it? What is the, see that, I ask you now the opposite of opposite of 3. First of all, what is the opposite of 3?
It's the one that.
What do you mean by the opposite of 3? It's -3.
It's -3?
Yes, opposite of 3, it's a -3.
Yeah.
Then what is the opposite of -3?
Positive 3.
It will be +3. So that's mean the opposite of 3 equals 3. The number will stay the same. Merci. See, Jenna, like if I ask you now, what is the, now you say that, you know that مثلا sugar is an opposite of salt. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what is the opposite of salt?
Sugar.
Sugar. And what is the opposite of sugar? Salt. So if I ask you now, what is the opposite of sugar? How you will solve it? First, you look at opposite of sugar. What is the opposite of sugar? Salt. Then what is the, so opposite of sugar now? I will clear it and I will write here salt. Then what is the opposite of salt?
Sugar.
Sugar. So the opposite of sugar is sugar. Got it now? Okay. Yalla, now this one. Yalla, write the opposite of integer.
I don't understand.
You, yalla, what is the positive of positive? What is the opposite of 9? Fatima. Habiba.
Just 9.
Yes. What is the opposite of 9? Yes, Habiba.
It's positive 9.
It will be positive 9. Thank you. Now, Jana Muhammad, what is the opposite of negative 12?
Negative 12.
Negative 12. Juri, what is the opposite of 0?
The opposite, minus 0.
There's no minus 0. There's only 0.
Yes. I mean, it's like 0.
It will be 0. So you will say that the opposite of any number is this number itself. Now, graph the integer and its opposite on the number line. After Joni, Jumana.
Yes, teacher.
Yes, Jumana. Negative 7. What is its opposite?
7.
Positive 7. How will you draw negative 7?
We'll go to number 7 and we'll count 7 numbers after 0.
So where's negative 7 here on the number line? It will be here. Between negative 6 and negative 8.
Teacher, Fatima is telling you that her mic is disabled and she can't open it.
Okay. Then its opposite, you will say now, where is this 7? 7 is between 6 and 8. So here will be the 7. So between negative 6 and negative 8, we have negative 7. And between 6 and 8, we have positive 7. Thank you, Jamar. Now, Laura.
Yes, miss.
Yes, Laura. What is the opposite of 9? Or the opposite of positive 9, you can say.
Negative 9.
Negative 9, thank you. Then, where you should put the negative 9, you will see, go to the negative numbers. Negative 9, it is 8, 9, 10. So it's going to be here. Here we have negative 9. And where is the positive 9? It's here. Thank you, Laura. Now, name the integers that represent the situation here. Number 3. After Laura, Maryam Mustafa. Maryam?
Yes, teacher.
Yes, Maryam. Kerry gained 24 points during a round of game show. Gained. It shows that you are talking about positive or negative?
Positive.
Positive. Bravo. So the number will be?
Will be 24.
Positive 24. Thank you. Now, Rima. Rima. Rinat. Rinat. Rimas. Rimas. Yes, Rinat. Ben lost 5 pounds during the summer. Lost. It indicates that positive or negative?
Negative.
Negative, thank you. Now, Rimas. Rimas.
Yes, teacher.
Yes, Rimas. Marcy deposits 35 in her saving account.
It's positive 35.
What do you mean by deposit?
Oh, it's negative.
See. No, you are correct. You said it correctly. Deposit, it's mean you put a money. So it's gonna be positive 35.
Teacher, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
If you have, like, let's say minus 7, and you want to put or negative 7,
Okay.
you want to put the opposite of it, it's gonna be minus 7, negative 7, again, or it's gonna be positive.
Positive 7. Opposite of negative 7 is positive 7. But if you say positive of negative 7, it will be negative 7.
Teacher, so confusing. Like,
No. It's easy. Let's just we need to study it today. Rudaina?
Teacher,
yes, Rudaina. Write the opposite of the integer. What is the opposite of negative 98?
positive 98.
It will be positive 98. So I told you now opposite. So just flip the sign. Now number 7. Sana.
Teacher.
Sana. Sana.
Teacher, maybe she's in the bathroom or her mic doesn't work. Yeah, she's opening her mic. Can't hear.
Sana.
Teacher, can you hear?
Yeah, what is the opposite of 0?
0 alone will be 0.
Thank you. Okay, now after Sana, let's go back to Fatima.
Yes, teacher, my mic was disabled and I was trying to talk to you.
Okay, now negative 53. What is the opposite of negative 53?
Positive 53.
Positive 53. Thank you. Now, Habiba, Jana.
Yes.
Yes, Habiba. This man made 850 at his summer job. What is the name, the integer that represents the situation?
Teacher, Habiba.
Yes, Habiba. He made 850.
Negative 850. Positive 850.
Positive 850. Thank you. Now, Jana Muhammad.
Yes, teacher.
Yes, Jana. Miguel withdraws $300 from his checking account.
I think positive
withdraws.
No.
Withdraws, he took a money. See, from withdraws from, and he took a money. So it's gonna be.
It will be this one minus with
yes.
300.
Yeah, negative 300. Jury, a barium ion has 2 more protons than electrons. 2 protons.
Proton? It's gonna be teacher. I don't know.
Okay,
I don't understand.
Proton. Do you talk before about proton and electron?
Yeah.
Right. What is the sign of electron?
Electron. I think it's the plus. Or
electrons are negative.
I forgot.
Protons.
Yeah, the protons are positive because
yes.
It begins with P. Yeah.
So that's mean 2 more protons. So it's gonna be
positive 2.
Positive 2. Thank you.
But teacher, I didn't understand why the positive is greater than negative.
Yes, the positive is greater than negative, but this is not our lesson today. Later on, you will talk about how to compare between the numbers. Okay, but here, all the positive numbers are greater than the negative. Yes, but don't distinguish between. Keep your mind now today or how it is the opposite of the numbers. Okay, now the last one. Write the opposite of opposite. So here I ask you to write opposite of opposite. Negative 23. Let's go now with Jumana.
Yes, teacher.
Yes, Jumana. What is the opposite of negative 23?
Negative 23.
Thank you. It's going to be negative 23. Laura.
Yes, miss.
Yes, Laura. What is the opposite of 17?
17.
Bravo. Thank you. It's gonna be 17. And the last one, Maryam. Mustafa. Opposite of negative 125.
It's negative 121.
Negative 125.
Teacher, I don't understand how. And when we have opposite of the opposite, we will make the same number, right?
Yes, see, like if you say opposite.
Teacher, I don't understand.
طب see, miss, okay, just a minute, please.
Teacher, the last one is positive to 125. What is it?
Negative 125, yes.
Negative? Teacher, what is this question? I cannot understand it. What is positive of positive? Opposite of like, teacher, I
See,
don't
just
understand.
Julie, just a minute. Just a minute. What is the opposite of negative 5?
Positive 5.
Positive 5. And what is the opposite of negative 5?
Positive 5.
Yeah, see. Opposite of negative 5. How you will solve it? What is the opposite of negative 5? Julie, what's the opposite of negative 5?
The opposite of negative 5. Positive 5.
5. Okay. Then what is the opposite of positive 5?
Negative 5.
Negative 5. That's it. So that's mean like if you say opposite of opposites, they are cancel each other. So take the numbers as it is. But if you see only one opposite, you have to flip the sign.
Teacher, division is easier than it. This one needs
Because
thinking.
no, because you took it today. It's so easy. So
this
easy.
one doesn't need anything.